Chocolate man has some chocolate today, and I feel so much excited to just drink this beautiful chocolate. It's amazing how 2 months ago I realized that I was doing things haphazardly, like I was starting a task and not finishing it. And for the last 2 months, well, I was finishing it, but I was beginning another one and another one and another one, and I was finishing them like haphazardly, and it was really making a lot of chaos in my brain because I was opening so many doors that my brain was like I'm freezing because all of these doors are open. And I realized why. I realized because if I have a task, it's because I want to better optimize my time basically. And for instance, let me give you a reason why it happens all the time. It's because when I make my chocolate, I have about 2 or 3 minutes until the water boils. So I can start the light, I can put the microphone on top of the camera, I can position it, I can do other types of things like moving things around. And I can get dressed into the filming clothes, and that's what happens. And this happens as well in when I transfer files from the camera to the laptop. I have other tasks that I can do on top. So what turned out to be a very useful tool, it became super erratic because now I tend to gravitate towards the closest thing. Like I start going to get socks, and on my way, I realize that I can prepare food for Sophie. And then I go and take my bag that I carry the food for Sophie in, and I go back and I put the food, and I realize I haven't taken my socks, the initial thing that I said that I'm gonna do, and so on and so forth, and things like that happen, and I end up just wasting quite a bit of time, or I find myself just with one sock and the other sock put somewhere, and it's like it would have taken me like one more second to just put another sock on. Like, why am I just stopping and doing another task and stopping and doing another task and stopping and doing another task? And I think, well, I now know why. And for the last 2 months, I have basically started to unravel these patterns, and I succeeded. I no longer do things like that, at least not as frequently. I haven't caught myself doing it in the past like week or so. Oh my god, it's amazing. It's a bit hot, but it's amazing, and it needs a swirl. It's amazing what one day of not getting your fix in the morning, your hot chocolate in the morning, does to you. Ah, and I'm consciously addicted to it. My day feels much better when I drink hot chocolate. And yeah, the point that I'm trying to make is that there are some things that are not apparent as long as you don't break them. Like some bad habits that you have and you don't know why you have them. And at some point, it happened to me before. At some point, you set those things as habits, and 1 year or 2 years later, you don't even remember what was the intention that you set out to do in order to facilitate that habit. And that habit has now ballooned into something that it's not serving you anymore, but it's a force of habit. So you do it over and over and over again, and that's what I call an unconscious pattern that was at some point consciously built, and that is now running you. It's a process that is now running you, and it's one of the most important realization that I had when I was about 20 or 25, between 20 and 25, that I had set some new, like it was the first time I realized the downside of self-development, where if you get to a certain point, you start to really improve your life and yourself, but you end up with some habits that have some consequences, that change your personality, that change your character, and you truly become another person. And some things are have some downsides. So you better realize that you might need to work in the future as well. Like it's an ongoing work of passion to work upon yourself. And it's fun to realize that whenever you like dig a hole and put a new foundation in, the structure that is going to be on top is not going to basically be of your design. So many of the things that we do are really due to unconscious patterns. We do not actually know why we do what we do. And very few people are awake, and very few people are doing things through their own will. Like I know there is this debate, and kind of I think they actually have proof of the fact that we don't have real consciousness, free will. I think that's free will, free William, free Willie. We don't have that, and but it certainly does feel like that. But I think that what they truly discovered is that people really, I'm gonna mangle this idea, but people do have this will, this thing that it's called will, but it's actually built upon layers of habits and character and personality. So even though you might not seem like you have will, at a certain point you have, by doing a habit over and over again until you truly change and that habit has been integrated, and now it doesn't take any more will to do. So I think that that's the way you change and you truly have power and dominion over your own reality and your own choices. Because I am truly seeing that it takes a little bit of a break until like I don't feel like I'm controlling what I'm saying. I feel like I'm just pushing things around, like pushing things in that direction, pushing things in that direction, and getting arrested for assault because I'm pushing things. And people are getting bumped by the things that I push, like a cat, like, oh, hey. No, but that's the point. Like I get these nudges in my mind. Should I go in that direction? Should I go in that direction? So you see how distant the subject that I have started with is from the subject that I am covering right now. You might say it's illogical, but I think that it gets you to another point, like going back to the subject that we had before, which is unconscious patterns that you have that I used to have, like starting to put some water to boil and then doing some other things. But I was doing the thing, I started to do the thing that I did with the boiling of the water, which is to start other tasks even if the task didn't ask for it. So I didn't have to wait. There wasn't baked in the task some waiting time, like for instance, putting on socks. And you see how you might look at that and you might say, this person does not have agency because I did not. I didn't have agency over that task. I was doing it unconsciously, that by force of habit, and I was on autopilot. But I do think that in the last 2 months, I have really pushed against that and to become more conscious and to become a bit more aware whenever I did that so that I change it. And I can say I truly did. And I think that that is how you actually have will. It's not instant, like, oh, I can turn 180. You can't. You have to build the habit first, and then it builds towards an unconscious habit that goes somewhere. So I think that that's really how change and will works. It's not, I'm going to change today. You truly have to do so much work. Most people don't realize that once their personality, their character, their habits are set, they are not set in stone, but they are close to it. Like even stone can be carved, you understand? But it takes so much work. Like honestly, it takes so much work to have truly an identity shift, an identity level shift where you change your identity, your core identity changes. You become a person who does something outside of their character, outside of their personality, something that was so foreign to you just, I don't know, 5 years ago. Now it's absolutely unconscious. You just do it without thinking. And you become better and better and better. Once you reach this level of unconscious competence, it's not that you just do it by, oh, no, you just do it all of the sudden without thinking. Yes, you are doing that. But the thing that makes you super, super good is the fact that you now don't expand energy as much. It's just a marathon for you. It's not it's not like you are thinking of every single step and you're like, "Oh my god, this is the first day I'm running in like 3 years." Of course you're not going to be able to run a marathon. If you did run for 3 years every day, you would be able to run a marathon, probably. I don't know. Depends on your level of training and genetics and your situation. But the point is that it takes a long time to do certain things. Like that person who wants to run a marathon is going to need to become a runner, a marathon runner. It's going to need to change his whole identity around that habit. And the only way to do that is through, like sports teaches you that basically you can do those things that are actually impossible for you right now. You can do impossible things, but well, they are possible, but if you dedicate this time to that task. So sports teaches you that, but you don't see people talking about the fact that, well, there's a lot of sports analogies everywhere, and I hate them, but because people, whenever people give analogies, like there was this sports analogy where this guy was like, oh, see, try to curl like 100 pounds. I don't know how much pounds is, like 50 kilos, and see how much you resist. And then put your legs like this and see how much you resist. You see, your legs are so much more strong. And the metaphor here is that you shouldn't use the your hand you shouldn't use the wrong tools on for the right tool. You should use the right tools for the right task. You shouldn't use the right tools for the wrong tools for the wrong task, whatever. And I was like, dude, it's not a fair comparison because this is under tension, this is under tension, but it's the natural tension that it had. Like a more fair comparison would be to the side because you are pushing against not, you don't really put that much pressure on muscles. You put a lot more pressure on bone. So the comparison is wrong. Like if you want the same comparison, you should make your leg do this, like the opposite. Like your leg goes like this on the back, and put the weight here, and see how long it can last. Like see, it's people don't use analogies really, really well. Like one of the analogies that I use for sports that people get wrong so many times is like it's obvious, but when you think about it, we all have this bias. We think that the weights get lighter. No, the weights stay the same. The weights have always been the same. They will always stay the same. You will become stronger. And I think that that's one of the best analogies for self development. Things don't get easier, you become better. Things don't get lighter, you become stronger. And because most people are like, oh, the weights are lighter now. They feel lighter. They feel, but it's not because they are. It's because you have become stronger. So I think that that's one of those things that really annoys me because it's so obvious and yet so many people get it wrong. And if you get that wrong, you have the wrong mindset and the wrong idea about the world. Like, honestly, just look at the world through the best lens that you can. And whenever you find a discrepancy between what is being said and what you see, what you notice, try to change your perspective. Like if I notice that the weights are getting lighter, I shouldn't say that because that's a discrepancy. That's just an effect. I'm noticing that the weights are getting lighter, but are they actually getting lighter? No, I am getting stronger. So get it into your mind that you should, whenever you see a certain thing that is going on, a certain effect, look at it and see and say, is this really what's going on here? Because, like, for instance, I used to hate editing, and I still do hate editing to a certain extent. But the problem was not editing. I was editing super fast, extremely fast. What I was hating is the fact that I was making so many mistakes. That was a slip. That was nice. So many mistakes in my speech that I was having to edit quite a bit of the footage. I was spending hours and hours and hours and hours just editing because I was making so many wrong turns. I was taking so many wrong turns. And no matter how good I was getting at editing, if I didn't get good at speaking in front of the camera, it would never improve. Like I would improve until a certain point, and that's exactly what happened. And I realized, like, I cannot imagine a world where I can double my efficiency in editing. It would take so much more effort. So I was looking at the world and saying, okay, the only way to get better at editing is to get better at speaking in front of the camera. And that's exactly what I did. And here I am, where I can speak for I don't know how many minutes. Let's see, 20 minutes and make like, I don't know, 4 or 5 mistakes and find them even funny because I didn't even concentrate too much to not make mistakes. If I do concentrate, I'm probably not going to make as many mistakes just because I'm more aware and awake in the moment with the subject. I fell with my chair because it doesn't have one wheel. It doesn't have a wheel, a wheel, a wheel. It doesn't have a will. It doesn't have a will, just like me. Just like I don't have a will, my chair doesn't have a wheel. Another beautiful day is over. I did some illustrations. I went for a walk with Sophie and I bought some beautiful bananas and some beautiful grapes, the best grapes in town. Amazing and good price as well. So that was great. And yeah, I end up the day. I'm gonna just finish the day a bit earlier. It's not that early, but I want to finish just so I can relax and really spend some time just figuring things out and unwinding because I am truly a bit, I don't know, my mind is full of things that it shouldn't be full of. Not really, it's not really like, oh, negative things or whatsoever. I'm not even able to formulate proper sentences. But I have a small hum in my mind, like, oh, you know? It's being annoying, and I need to just get rid of it by relaxing and doing all sorts of other things that are not work. I need to do some fun things, some relaxing fun things, or whatever. Just I probably need to meet with some people to get outside of my mind because I've been a bit lonely for the last few days or so. So I need to unwind, relax, and meet with some people. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.